Thanks for being here. Thanks for being willing to play today. I'm Samaj. This is Creating with Samaj, and this is going to be the noisy background edition because the bird downstairs is going crazy. There's a meeting going on downstairs, and I just needed to get this done today because if I don't do it now, I won't have any time. Here we are, Canson XL, praying oval 16. Every day we show up for 15 or 20 minutes to put thoughts on paper, getting them out of our head and on to the page. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get started and see what shows up today. In the coloring book phase, sometimes we outline the page and sometimes we don't. Today the page is being outlined. Every day we show up to play, and I consider this a practice of self-care. Self-care indeed. Taking time to see what we can do and see what we can create. And we've been making our coloring book. And our coloring book has been showing lots of interesting things, and we just allow whatever to show up however it desires to do so. We don't really think about what we do. We just enjoy the process of the doing. And in the doing, we get to play and see what wants to show up in the ways it wants to show up. Right? We don't question the process. We just engage in the fun of the process. And we never know what's going to show up. But it's having some fun and time to play. So let's see what happens when we fill in our circles with color. Color was already on the brush there. So that's the starting point today. Pow, 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 pow. Ew, ew, ew. Remember, this is playtime. We're supposed to be playing here. Having fun as adults. Getting lost in the adventure of putting color on paper and watching it explode in its connection with water and pigment and paper dancing together. Creating fun things in front of our eyes. Making us later go, wow, did I do that? Did I do that? Wow. Pretty exciting. Pretty fun. We can watch ourselves blossom and expand and do new and exciting things. Even like just being willing to put color on a page in a way that you may not have done it in the past, and just allowing it to do what it does and not be all fraught. I use that word often, but I think it says a lot. Fraught. I just love seeing what wants to show up. And enjoying the process of creating, making something that we don't know what it's going to be. Also, not having expectations. Not having the expectation of anything. You know, this act of us showing up every day, doing this painting thing, really is an act of self-care. opportunity for us to get stuff out and just to see what shows up. And not being attached to the outcome, but being more attached to the process of the creating and what shows up in the creating. Sometimes we forget to give ourselves permission to play and to be new at things. Sometimes we think we have to be perfect or great right out the gate at all the things that we do, and we're not willing to be in the messy part. And sometimes the messy part is really important. What is the messy part? It's the part where you don't really understand what is going on, what you're doing. You have no clue and no idea, but you're still in the process of the doing. And as you're doing, things start to happen and awareness starts to take place and things start to fire and you just start to become better at whatever the doing is that you are in the process of. Because of the engagement, because of getting lost in what it is that you're doing. So, spend some time getting lost in play, remembering that play brings about the chance for you to have new insights, new information. It allows you to process things from a different vantage point. You know, it's like a meditation. And meditation can be many things. It can be painting, it can be drawing, it can be sitting cross-legged in a room in silence. It can be painting along with a friend. It can be driving in the car, walking on the beach. It can be hanging out, watching your children. There are so many ways to meditate, and I think what happens is people forget that meditation is just focusing on things that bring you joy or put you in a place where you're not thinking of anything at all, just sort of floating. Meditation is a mindfulness, like this practice is a practice of mindfulness. Every day we show up to see what shows up, and we don't question what shows up. We just enjoy the process of the creating. And we don't even think about the colors we choose. We just go with wherever the brush wants to go. And we follow the movement and the dance between the brush and the paper, the water and the pigment. We just have to be present in that experience. Sometimes being present in the experience requires us to be quiet so that we can hear, like Rumi says, the voice that speaks without words. We only hear it when we are quiet enough to listen. And I think there's a voice inside all of us that does a lot of things. It tells us a lot of stories. But it also is a voice that can hold our dreams and our aspirations and our desires. It has many voices, it seems, but I encourage you to encourage the voice of potential and opportunity and see what shows up there for you and see what new discoveries may lie in that space. Maybe it'll become a meditation or a practice of self-care, because this is a practice of self-care. Meditation is a practice of self-care, and self-care is not selfish care. When you take a little bit of time for you, it seems to expand time, and it also allows and gives more time for others. It's just a phenomenon that happens and occurs and takes place pretty regularly. Animals in here I didn't even know were in here. The dog, the cat. The bird. So, take time to play. Take time to figure out what wants to show up in the time that you spend expressing yourself in your world of creating for the 15 or 20 minutes, whatever your medium is. It doesn't have to be watercolor. We've talked about that. And a meditation can be many things. Maybe you're just listening and following along and not doing anything at all except reducing your cortisol by watching. And isn't that a delightful thing to have take place? Don't get wrapped up in the expectation of what you think things need to be, should be, have to be. Your practice is your practice. It shows up however it wants to for you. And when we allow things to be as they desire to be and don't push them into what we want them to be, it gives more organic freedom. And I know that people are like, oh my gosh, you can't have that attitude about everything, because if you do, your life will fall apart. And that might be true. But in my old age wisdom, I've tried a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. And my personal experience is that when you let go and surrender to the universe, the ride is a lot better. And there's just more that happens for you, more opportunity shows up, more experience, more awesome people. It goes back to that saying, if you plan your life, every moment you miss what life has planned for you. And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, because life has a lot of adventures that it wants to express to you. But if it doesn't see that you have a willingness to play, then it's going to maybe hold back. It's like, are you as willing to go forth into a situation that doesn't look inviting, opposed to something that says, come on in, you're invited? That's a totally different sensation, right? So the universe is kind of like that. It goes to the places that it's wanted. Creativity goes to the places that it's wanted. Ideas go to the places that they're wanted. Allowing things to show up without the expectation of what you think they have to be, need to be, want to be, have to be, and just allow them, that's when that excitement of the unexpected takes place. I hear people talking all the time about situations that had they planned it, they could never have planned it so perfectly, and it all happened because in whatever situation it is, they allowed the universe to do what the universe does. And that's, weave its beautiful ability to do what it does better than any of us could ever do. You know, the universe always has stuff working behind the scenes for us. You can call it whatever you want. I just think that we have this force that exists around us that when we tap into it and we're aware and we let it know that, you know, we want to be a part of, it becomes something that wants to be a part of us too. Oh, and here comes a cat desperately needing to get in. There we go. And this is going to pretty much finish up our session for today. Be willing to see where your creativity wants to take you. Be willing to invest in you. It's a great investment. You time is not selfish time. It's time that you take for you to give more to others. And it's a chance to just maybe step away and process things differently. From a different vantage point and a different perspective, perhaps. I don't know. There's a lot that I don't know. And I'm not really one to tell you anything. I'm just kind of a guidepost, pointing in directions of things that might be possible, but ultimately, you are the one that has to decide. Always a delight to be here with you for the time that we spend together creating, seeing what shows up and however it wants to show up. Little crazy abstract coloring today, which certainly was fun. It's exciting to see how things want to present themselves. Spirals. Number 6s, who knows? 9s, 9, 9, 9, 9. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being creative. I trust wherever you are that you find time to be creative today, that you tap into that potential that's there, and that you see what wants to show up. Never really question what shows up, but just enjoy the process of seeing what's there. I'm Samaj. This is Creating with Samaj. Wherever you are, I trust that you have an amazing day. And until then,